this was a doozy of a story, alright? So, my brother is like, this just, like, he is my older brother, he is an absolute, like, weeb, like, hard anime lover style weeb, right? And so he likes to go cosplay at conventions, right? And so he needed, because he's like he lives with our parents still. And so he needed like a second person in order to go to the con, because that's the only way. Like, someone had to monitor him. And somehow that ended up being me, right? And so it was this big event, and we had to fly out of state to do it, alright? And so, actually, it's a funny story, because as we are at the airport, right, there's this guy, and I see he's kind of twitchy, right? And so he's clutching this briefcase, right? And so he's hugging this briefcase suspiciously, right? And I'm kind of like, I'm looking around in line, and I'm like glancing at my brother to see if maybe I'm misinterpreting this, like, and so, like, I start hearing this like little like almost like, when I first heard it, I thought it was a ticking sound, right? In retrospect, it was more of like a scuttling kind of tinkering sound, right? But I think I hear ticking. So like, so then I'm just like, I'm waiting in line with this twitchy looking guy. He's looking around, there's ticking covering his suitcase. And so, like any reasonable person would, I run away and scream, "He's got a bomb." Because I thought he had a bomb. Because that fits the profile for someone who would go to the airport with a bomb, right? And so then one of the security guards runs over, like, Officer Earl runs over to him and tackles him. And the suitcase, like, somehow kind of, like, because this one I've, like, kind of turned back to watch, because it's like, I mean, if the bomb can reach that far anyways, I'm pretty much, I'm fucked anyways, so, like, might as well watch. And so the officer is like, the security guy, he tackles him, and the briefcase lands on just like the very hinge of it, right? And so it opens, and out come a bunch of gerbils, live gerbils, and they all start skittering around and running down the airport, right? And so this one woman, she's like holding, she's distracted, she's like holding her phone, and she's scrolling on it, right? And so one of like the gerbil things, it hits her leg, she glances down, she screams, "Oh my god, it's a rat!" And she jerks her hand so her phone goes flying, and it hits another guy, and it's one of the TSA guys, and he ends up dropping like a kind of heavy suitcase he was carrying, and everyone just panics. Well, they were already kind of panicking, but like, because of the bomb threat, but like, everyone thinks that the bomb, because I don't know what was in that suitcase, but it sounded like a big thing, and so everyone's panicking because they think that the bomb just went off, right? Because of, well, you know, the guy screaming that he's got a bomb, followed by more screams and a loud sound. All right. And so it takes them an hour to get, like, or more than an hour, but like, it takes them a while to kind of get this semblance of order. All the planes are delayed. And, you know, they call me into the thing to, like, talk with the security guys, but because it was a reasonable thing to fear, and because the guy he was smuggling live animals unauthorized on a plane. I never got to know why he wanted the gerbils there, but it was a crime anyways. They kind of, they didn't like congratulate me or anything, but they were kind of like, yeah, you did the reasonable thing. You can go on your flight, right? And so I get on the plane with my brother, and immediately I notice that a couple sits with a baby, sits behind us, right? And I'm like, oh my god, because it's a couple with a baby, right? And then a single mother with a baby sits and takes the seat next to them. And then another couple comes in with a baby and sits in front of us. And then one like business guy comes in and takes the other seat in front of us. And so that's 3 children on a flight with my brother, by the way. We have to the level of conversation that he is capable of holding is like, he asked me who my waifu is, and I just had to, words were not enough to describe how disappointed I was. He's a grown man, talking with his still in school brother about what, like, anime has to be one of, maybe not the worst, but anime has to be one of the worst things that has happened to Western culture. Because it is just, I could rant about this for a while. I am going to, because anime, it's like, first of all, people like have a completely distorted view of like relationships and stuff and the body standard because of anime. We can blame the Japanese for it. 2 is introducing like, it's you can look at any of the like people in there and it's like, it's not good. Like, what is it? Like, I enjoy anime, right? I've been known to liberally watch anime, like, and liberal as in like here and there, not so much, like, not, because guess what, people? The terms liberal and conservative have like different meanings beyond their political context, which were not their original meanings. And that actually reminds me. One time I was at the library and I was playing a game with someone. I forget what it was, but I was losing. I'm like, oh, I need to play conservative. I need to play conservatively, right? And he goes like, why don't you just play liberally? And it's like, does he think that those terms are only for politics? Like, all right, so I enjoy anime. I don't think that it's inherently a bad thing. Like, I don't think that, like I'm not gonna picket crusade and go, like, we should never have anime ever. But the societal damage that anime has done is just, it's irreparable. Like we've gone too far. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not the Japanese. No, it's both countries' fault. It's America and Japan. It's, yeah, either. And my brother has become so aggressive. He spends all day in our basement just watching just anime, straight anime. And like, not the good one. Like, he isn't watching like Baki or JoJo like I watch. He's like watching like the niche ones as well. Like, it's weird. It's just, you're weird. If you're like, if you're watching That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Cute Girl's Ramen Cup, you're weird, buddy. Like, there are so many things that you could be doing with your life that are more productive than this. You could be like you could be writing, you could be reading, you could go outside. Like, no, just sitting there and just thinking and like just being alone with your thoughts would be more productive than that would. All right, but instead, he chooses to just sit and rot and decay. Like, just, he used to be a really smart dude, but then he just, and this isn't anime's fault. This is just, he just gave up. That's the worst part. It's not like this was something that didn't need to happen. He gave up on trying to be someone. Alright, so where was I? Alright, we're on the plane, and I have cross-state flight. I have to talk to him, right? And my phone is dead because of the 1 hour wait, and I packed a book and he won't stop annoying me, right? And it is a slog, man. It is like, I think I'd have rather just been alone for the entire trip. I'm not gonna lie. It was just, I don't even know. All right, so we land in the state of the convention, right? We go and we've packed up for the convention, right? And I'm just gonna skip all the boring details where we have to do all this stuff beforehand. So we're at the convention, right? And he's going around and he's doing his thing, and at a certain point he's like, yo, bro, I'll pay you $200 if you just let me wander off, and then don't be a drag, and just don't tell mom and dad. Just tell them I was with you the whole time, I wasn't doing anything. And so I don't know where his unemployed ass got $200, but that's $200 is $200, man. Like, I'm like, $200. I don't care what you do. I'll tell him, like, you could, I don't know, man, you could go and start in a boxing, right? Or you could go, I don't know, man. I don't know. But, so I've got my $200, right? He just hands it to me in cash. Like, he had that prepared, right? And looking back on it, he probably borrowed it from one of his friends. I mean, they're all either, like, a couple bums in real life, or, like, guys on the internet who he talks about, like, yeah, because he's a looks-maxer incel, too. So that's great. Fantastic. Between him and my grandpa, and my mom, I still haven't forgotten about the merch, all right? I still haven't forgotten. I haven't slept well in days since that Pomni pillow got taken, so that's kind of like, that's kind of helping to add to my anxiety about, my serial killer, femboy loving grandpa getting out of jail, and now as I'm kind of leading up to me nearly getting mugged by Sprunki cosplayers. Either way, as I'm going around and I'm looking at all these convention things, and it's like, there's nothing inherently wrong about conventions. And with this one, I don't even think it's harmful. Like, I just think it's like it's like cool. You want to go to a convention, sure. But my idea of a good time is not wandering around in a hot building in the middle of a different state and just talking to people who are dressed up like fictional characters. Like, that just, I don't know. Actually found a flock of femboys, and I kind of came over and I'm like, hey, and I'm trying to warn them about my grandpa, right? And so I'm like, hey guys, my grandpa is out of jail, and he's really bad, and as long as he's out there, no femboys are safe. And so I get all these weird looks, right? And they just kind of all move, like, away from me, and I'm like, well, damn it, what do I do now? All right, convention goals, I guess. Scare a bunch of femboys away. So there were a lot of weebs right there. I saw one guy buying bath water, and it's like, could we not find something more productive to do with these things? Like seriously, like, these should, like, you will find some of the most talented, creative people that you will ever meet, like, that you'll ever see in your life, who have constructed, like, amazing things and done beautiful art, next to just straight up losers at conventions. Like there's no intermediate. I guess I was there, so I guess there is an intermediate. But then I guess I'd qualify as just a straight loser. But yeah, and so as I'm going around, I see this group of Sprunki cosplayers. All right, this is where we're getting to the title of the video, right? And so basically I go up and I approach them, and they're doing like kind of like raps. So they're very in character, right? And so, because my I know it's Sprunki because my little brother actually plays, or no, he doesn't play. He like watches YouTube videos where they react to them on the iPad, right? He yeah, great. Weeb incel older brother and iPad baby younger brother, thief of a mother, and evil serial killer femboy loving grandpa. Yeah, that's. Thanksgiving has to be the worst years of my life. Another side diversion. One year I was at Thanksgiving, right? And so there's this guy, my uncle, Jim Bob. I'm actually not sure if we're related, but so he comes in and he drinks and smokes the entire time with children present. He's tipping that. Like recently I've started kind of keeping track of how many. I've started kind of tailing him and seeing how many he drinks. The most I've seen him drink in one Thanksgiving is 37, and this was the result of that. So basically, he starts. This is like with my Okay, so when I refer to my grandpa for this story, this is not the evil one. This is the one on the other side, right? So like. He gets up on the table, right? My uncle Jim Bob. And so he goes up and he raises his hand. He's like, everyone, I've got an announcement. And he goes on this rant about how the government is providing loans so that people can go and do all these quote unquote nefarious activities. And he's talking about how not only is climate change not a real thing, but the people who are doing it are secretly trying to build a new world order and serve the ancient Aztec god of storms and electricity, and that's why they want us to convert to electric. And then also that they're also worshiping Ra, which is why they want solar panels. And so, as we're doing this with, I'm the only one who's faced by this, by the way. Everyone's just kind of going about their, regular routine and be like, oh, yeah, Uncle Jim Bob, yep. And then my grandpa comes up, and he gets on the table, and he goes, boy, no, not like that. He goes, boy, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna shut you up. And so he grabbed his cane and he's about to hit my Uncle Jim Bob over the head, right? And so Uncle Jim Bob goes oh yeah, make me shut up. And so my grandpa smashes him over the head with the cane. Jim Bob reels, vomits because of all the alcohol onto the table, right? And ruins, right on my helping too. And that's just, at that point, I just cried. I just cried. What else can you do in that situation? And so Uncle Jim Bob Grandpa then takes a step forward and he slips in it and he falls and he breaks his hip. And that ruined Thanksgiving. That very much ruined Thanksgiving. That was the worst thing I've been And who names their kid Jim Bob? And it's Jim-Bob. Alright, back to Alright, so I approached this group of Sprunki cosplayers, right? So they're getting... How did I even get into Uncle Jim Bob story? I was like, oh yes, because, so I know what they are because my little brother watches, the reaction videos of them. And so, basically, I go up to them and I'm like, oh, hey, oh, look, it's the Sprunkies. And they're all doing their thing and they're like, oh, hey, man. You can tell, there's this kind of, it's almost like they can smell that I'm not one of them. It's the entire day I'd been getting these kind of dirty glances for no reason from people, and it's almost like they can smell it on me, they sense that I'm an outsider, right? And so jokingly to try and ease the tension, I point to towards Wenda, right, the one who's white, because Wenda's the one who's the white cat, right? And I'm like, oh look, it's Token. And then they all just kind of give me these dirtier looks, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, my bad, Mr. Boy Kisser. And so that was the point where they snapped, was when I jokingly referred to her as Boy Kisser, right? And I don't know why, but I actually found this out later, but for some reason there's some sort of beef between them. it's weird, all right? And so then, like, they start, like, cracking their knuckles and everything, and they're like, if you don't shut up, boy. Wait, why do I keep doing that? No, sorry. But they're like, if you don't shut up, we're gonna beat your ass. And so I do what any reasonable person would do. I sprint away, because, like, there's, like, 8 of them and 1 of me. Like, unless it's, like, Mike Tyson and 8 children, I don't think there's anyone who could win in a 1v8, right? Like, I'm getting thrashed. If I don't escape that situation, I'm done. It's over. All right. And so I'm running through the halls of the convention, right? And then suddenly, like, I bump into a guy. Like, massive dude, by the way. Like, get, like, slammed onto the floor, right? And so I look up through my daze, and he's cosplaying Heavy from TF2, right? And so then he, like, looks down at me and goes, like, what's this little man running from? In, like, in a surprisingly good Russian accent. Like, he could have been Heavy Weapons guy. Like, the only thing that prevented me from thinking that he wasn't Heavy Weapons guy was the fact that I know that Heavy Weapons guy is a real character. And by the way, I was thinking about it. In the original game, is it supposed to be, like, was it originally supposed to be Heavy the Weapons guy or the Heavy Weapons guy? Like, Heavy is the Heavy is the weapons guy, or that guy is the Heavy Weapons guy. Does that make any sense? No? All right. And then he's got, like, this whole team of guys who also look like they could be the TF2 mercs. And so they see the Sprunki cosplayers, and there's just this immediate standoff where they're just staring at each other, right? And I take my opportunity and I just run out of there. Like, 2 minutes later, I hear screaming and smashing, right? Or not screaming, like, yelling, more like kind of like, and, like, everybody, I go up to one of the people, I'm like, the security people, I'm like, oh my god, there's something going on. And they're like, no, it's fine, it's normal. And I'm like, am I genuinely the only sane person here? Sometimes I feel like I'm the only sane person I know. And so, yeah, I find my brother, and then I have to spend, like, and so he's not ready to go, right? And so he's like, oh, I'll take that $200 back, man. And so, all right, so I have to then, like, steal a mask from someone, right? Well, not steal. Steal is a strong word. I borrowed it permanently in exchange for money via contract. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't sound like stealing at all, but stealing sounds cooler. All right. So we're just gonna pretend I took a stormtrooper helmet, right? And so I'm walking around the con with like a stormtrooper helmet and nothing else on, right? Like, well, obviously something else on, but nothing else that would be, like, qualified as, like, cosplay or convention club. Maybe that's how they knew, is because there's, like, a very certain garb. There's a certain way that everyone dresses, even if they're not cosplaying, and I didn't really fit that. Maybe it was because I was wearing my hot pink tux with the Deltarune Spampton tie, perhaps, with the snow boots too, and perhaps it was because it was way too hot to wear that, but now that in the moment I wondered how they found me again, but now that I'm thinking about it, I was probably pretty recognizable. Either way, the Sprunki cosplayers found me again, and I then had to hide in the ventilation shaft, because there was, like, an open vent that someone had pried open for some reason. So I just kind of dove in that, and none of them were, like, they were all bigger than me for, like, and I don't mean, like in various ways. Like, one of the guys was, like, this super muscular guy. Like, he probably could have beat me up on that. And so I'm crawling through the ventilation shafts for an hour. Feels like an indie, like, I kind of, like, I pretended that I was in some sort of, like, indie game to kind of cope with the stress of, crawling in the vents. So after a while, I reemerge, and my brother's ready to go, and we go, and we have to endure the flight home, and I never want to step foot in another convention again, ever.